Author's Corner with H.D.Campbell. Each show is filled with news, reviews, interviews, and expert advice from the industry. All for you, the author. And now, here's our host, H.D.Campbell.
Welcome back to an all-new season of the Author's Corner. As always, I'm your host, H.D.Campbell. I'm excited to announce new changes to the Author's Corner starting today. First, my advice segment has changed. Instead of me just giving you advice, I've recruited a panel of experts who will give you advice every episode. My friends consist of authors, editors, professors, agents, and master poets, all experts in the industry, giving their knowledge on what they know to help you, the writer and author. This serves two purposes. Number one, you're tired of looking at me. I know you're tired of listening to me like throughout the show, almost every episode. So it's like I'm giving you a variety of other people to look at. In addition to you hearing me doing interviews and seeing me doing segments, you get to see other people as well. And on a more serious note, this shows what I've been preaching since day one. People like me and Keisha Green and, Janae Bennett, we've all been preaching this from day one. We're trying to show you guys that there's no real competition in this market. In other words, we're all in this together. So in other words, if I can call some of my best friends who are my colleagues, it basically shows unity within the industry. Now, next, you'll meet author Tasha Bynum. Tasha will be giving our gossip news segment. I started doing that to kind of give you a little bit of variety going on. And also, too, she's also our new co-producer of the show. Sometimes it'll be literary based, sometimes it won't be, but it'll still be just as entertaining. And also, you'll get to hear from her a lot throughout the show as well. However, the Author's Corner interviews have not changed. With that said, we'll start off with local entrepreneur and costume designer Marissa Perry. Then we'll have local author and Traffic Music Award winner Malik the Boss. Both have some amazing things going on. And then we'll have our first advice segment with professor, author, editor Shonell Bacon. Then we'll round things off with Tasha's first gossip segment. So, without further ado, we'll get the ball rolling with Marissa Perry.
When the Author's Corner returns, we'll start with entrepreneur Marissa Perry.
Have you checked out the Author's Corner lately? It's the best show you're not watching. Every 2 weeks, we bring you author interviews, news, and the best of the industry. With special guests, no wonder it's the fastest growing show around. There are 2 ways to check me out. Log on to my website at www.hdcampbell3.net or my YouTube channel at hdcampbell1230. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
Need a manuscript edited? Or maybe you need a press kit. H.D.Campbell Productions can give your project detailed attention and will not be satisfied until you are. We also do press releases, resumes, and more. For prices and services, log on to my online store at www.hdcampbell3.net. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. Welcome back. I want to introduce to you a local entrepreneur who's not only a superwoman and talent, I also found out we had some family ties, which you'll learn a little bit later. But don't take my word for it. Find out for yourself. Here is Marissa Perry.
With my personal business, Fashion Freight, we've been in business since 2008.
Okay. And tell me how'd they get started?
What are you asking?
No, how did Fashion Freight get started?
Oh, okay. Well, I have a partner with Fashion Freight. His name is Veronica Richardson, and we met in undergrad. And we actually came together because one of our really close friends passed away. And we just decided that there was something kind of lacking on the fashion scene in St. Louis, and we got together, we created Fashion Freight, and we started a lot of fashion shows in the area, artist exhibits, and our goal was to give other local designers a platform to display their work.
Okay. And you say you've been in business since 2008. What type of shows have you done?
we have done regular fashion shows. Well, I shouldn't say regular. And if she heard me say the word regular, she would probably like slap my hand. Because we really started doing like themed shows. And we would do them in unconventional places. Like our first show was Rock Meets Hip Hop, and we did it in like this completely gutted out warehouse. We had a live band and all kinds of live stuff. So we do shows like that.
Okay. And so, pretty much, so how many shows do you think you do a year?
Well, when we first started, we would do at least 4 shows a year. But we kind of tapered off, and we are beginning to redesign what Fashion Freight really is. So we've kind of tapered off on fashion shows. But in the beginning, we would do about 4 shows a year.
Okay. Now, back to your business. What exactly do you provide? What services do you provide? What do you sell? A little bit.
Well, with Fashion Freight, like I said, we're beginning a rebranding process, and Freight is becoming more of a clothing line. So, I mean, eventually we'll probably do a little more of what we did in the past, but as far as, what rebranding, what we're doing now, it's more of a clothing line.
Okay. So as far as your clothing line goes, when the rebranding comes, how long you think it's going to be before the rebranding comes back, before it actually is done rebranding?
Well, we're actually in the middle of working on it now, so we'll see a great spring-summer collection from us within the next few weeks.
Oh, I can't wait. That's cool. Well, I'm going to tell you this, like I tell all of the people that I interview, you're very busy. You wear a lot of hats. Can you tell me what some of the hats you wear?
Sure. Well, in addition to Fashion Freight, I'm also costume shop supervisor for the Black Repertory Theater. I sometimes style just local people around St. Louis that do like, small events or bands or things like that. Of course, I'm a parent. So, I mean, I do wear a lot of hats, but I love each and everything that I do.
Well, I'm going to talk about the Black Rep, which is very, very awesome. How did you get started with working with the Black Rep?
Okay. Well, I started working with the Black Rep June of last year on the production of The Wiz. I actually got a call from the director. He had been looking for someone to help supervise the shop for The Wiz. And I mean, he didn't just call me out of the blue. He got a connection. Someone told him that I would be good. So I got a call from him, and I supervised the shop for The Wiz, and I was just invited back to run the shop full time.
I love that. See, that's pretty good. Told you. See, you wearing a lot of hats. Didn't even know I had other hats coming. There's gonna be more hats waiting. It's not.
Take one off. Put another one on.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, from what I see, people talk about me all the time, but I want to talk about you as far as being busy and all over the place. But the more busy you are, the more you see yourself as a commonplace in the community. How do you see yourself feeling being a norm, a commonplace in the community, especially in the African American community?
Well, I think it's awesome, actually. And I wish that I wish there was more, I wish there were more people in the community that even I could look up to, so I don't take it lightly that, I'm out in the community, I'm doing different things, and, there's a lot of times where people will recognize me or, know something about me, and I've never even spoken to that person before. So I don't take that lightly. It makes me understand that, even when I'm not directly saying anything to anyone, people are watching it and people are listening.
Okay. Well, I want to go back. I want to reach back further for a minute. I want to talk to you about. I want to ask you, what influenced your future? What influenced your love for fashion in the beginning?
I just always had this interest in what people are wearing and what is it made out of and what made them decide to put these colors together. Just as a young girl, I was always sketching dolls and clothes. It's just always been in me. I wouldn't even say that, there was something that I saw that influenced me. It just was innate. It was always there.
Well, you say you're a mother, and as a mother, you're very well. Well, first as Marissa Perry, you're very, very hardworking. You're very, very enterprising. You are a very hard worker. How do you instill this into your children, and how can our children take away some of your wisdom?
Well, the way that I instill that into my son is first by letting my son watch me work. So my son sees me set a schedule. He sees me mark off tasks. He sees me complete things. And these are the same things that I instill in him with his schoolwork. I help my son to make a list of what you need to do, mark them off so that you can feel accomplished as your list is going on, and then you complete it. So, when I do shows, a lot of the time my son is with me. I'm a single parent. So when I'm there, my son is there. And people are used to seeing my son. He's used to the theater life and, what's going on.
See, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I truly love that, which makes you, well, basically, you're just an awesome parent, pretty much. As far as other children are concerned, when they come and they look up to you, like I know a young lady who actually wants to do what you do. What would you tell her if she wanted to come to you with questions or any advice you want to give her?
Well, firstly, I would never turn away a child who would want to ask questions about what I do or was interested in this field. I would never turn away that person. But I would say, firstly, you have to focus on the basics. So before I could decide that I wanted to be a fashion designer, a costume designer, I had to have the basics. So I had to do well in school. I had to keep up the things that I had to do at home. But beyond that, for someone who wants to come up into this field, I would say get fashion magazines. Kind of look into them and see what people are wearing, and you can not only look at the pictures, but actually read the articles. Do some research and find some fashion designers that you like. They don't all have to be local, but find some that you really like and research them and look into their story and how they got started. And then find you maybe one or two local people and kind of follow them a little bit. If it's someone local, you can potentially contact them and, get information from them, and maybe they'll let you do a small internship. I would be willing to do small internships.
What keeps you here in St. Louis?
Well, honestly, feel like there is potential everywhere. Of course, we know what New York stands for as far as fashion is concerned, but everybody comes here. So I feel like there's just as much talent here as there is there. And if everyone runs to New York, then who's going to custom design things?
Exactly, exactly. Okay, my next question is, who are some of your favorite designers?
I'd say my all-time favorite designer is Alexander McQueen.
Mm-hmm.
I love, I, I pretty much love everything anyway. I also love Marquesa,
Okay.
um, and I really love Marquesa.
Okay.
And I mean, there's others, but those would probably be my top two.
Okay. And one more favorites question. What are some of your favorite magazines?
Favorite magazines, definitely Vogue, of course. Um, Vogue, definitely like the September issue. Like
Mm-hmm.
even if I don't have a subscription to Vogue, to say that, but I just get it periodically. But always the September issue.
Okay.
And I may pick up a L every now and then and Harper's Bazaar.
Okay. Okay. Now we were talking. We were talking earlier about some of your early influences, about what you read, a little bit of everything. Um, so what are you working on currently?
Well, currently I'm working on two things. Two things for the Black Rep. We do a traveling show, and the show we're doing now is called Rapid and Robot. So that show is going to travel to a local elementary school. So I'm finishing the costumes for that, and then also the next major production for the Black Rep is a play called Trials of Brother Jero. It's going to open April 9th. So I'm working on costumes for that as well.
What do you have anything projected planned for like next year or later this year?
Well, the Trials of Brother Jero is the last play for the season of the Black Rep, and then our season will start again in next December. This is December. But as far as Fashion Freight, of course, like I said, you'll see our spring line coming up soon, and then I'll start working on just continuing the rebranding and other things that we have in store for Fashion Freight for over the summer and working into the fall.
Okay. Okay. Now my next question is, and I ask this of everyone: Do you have any words of wisdom? Anything you want to say for anyone who wants to be in this, young or old, who wants to be in what you're doing right now, or wants to get to the position that you're in?
Sure, I would definitely say, not even just if you want to be in costume design, but I would say once you find that thing that you really want to do, then understand that most likely for most of us, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a multitude of hard work and dedication, and are there going to be some failures along the way? Naturally. I would say if you're not failing, then you're probably not trying. So expect that, but just continue to see your little light at the end of the tunnel and know that if it's something that you truly want, you truly believe in yourself, then it will happen at whatever stated time it is supposed to happen. But in due time, you will attain it if you keep trucking, keep pushing.
Okay. And I also want to give you the final word with this. If I wanted to, how could I get in contact with you if I want to learn more about you, what you do for the Rep, Fashion Freight? How can I get in contact with you?
I can always be contacted through my email, which is m.theory@fashionfreight.com. I can be contacted through Facebook as well. My Facebook is Marissa Jennings Care. I prefer those two places.
Okay, that's okay. And now, one last thing, and then we're done. I want to let everyone know that Miss Marissa Janice Perry is not only an awesome, fashion designer, business owner, pillar to the community, but she's also related. She's also family. She's my cousin. I just recently found that out.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, and it's great to know that Well, it also shows that talent runs in the family, you guys. Just I do want to shout out your brother Gary Harris from Roosevelt. We went to Roosevelt together. And anything final you want to say?
Well, of course, I just want to say thank you for having me. You know, it's definitely an honor when, you know, anyone contacts you and they recognize what you do and want to talk to you about it. So I appreciate that very much.
When the Author's
Thank you.
Corner returns, we'll talk to author Malik, the boss. And stay tuned next week when we'll talk to sensual poet Cotton.
Hello, I'm Marissa Perry, watching The Author's Corner.
Ever experienced a love for someone so forbidden? It feels so wrong, but yet his passion makes you feel oh so right? Even if you have, meet Solomon and Sheba, my award-winning author, Francine Kraft, and experience it all again.
Check out an Author's Corner every 2 weeks. We will have the best from the literary world and beyond. You never know, I might show up. There are 2 ways to tune in, though. You can log on to my website at www.h.campbell3.net or my YouTube channel, 1230. Let your writing fuel your spirit. Welcome back. This next brother not only has a deep book about his life, which earns him multiple TMA awards, the Traffic Music Awards, which is a big award show here in St. Louis that gives the best and brightest in the literary and the music world. He's also a part of a local movement which is giving our youth an alternative to negative behavior, and it basically gets them off the streets, gets them into sports programs, and a lot of other great things. And this man deserves an award for that alone. His name is Malik the Boss, and here's his story. I'm getting a rare treat here. I get to talk to Malik the Boss, author, TMA Award recipient, business owner, just all around cool guy and local. How you doing today, brother?
Doing pretty good, you?
I'm doing great. Well, I just want to thank you for wanting to come onto the Author's Corner and talking to me. I mean, it's definitely a pleasure, especially when you're local. I love it when we're local.
Right.
Well, I want to start at the beginning. I want to start with, first I want to start with your writing. What made you, what got you into writing?
Well, actually, this is the actual first book that I ever wrote. Back started in 2010, I was doing some promotions for another writer, and she was basically doing an autobiography story and then doing her promotions for her book. Gave me the idea that I could go ahead and write my book. So
Okay.
that's really what inspired me to start writing the story. And you know, the second part of it was I wanted to leave my story basically for my kids, and that's who I originally wrote the book for. That so if something was to happen to me, they could know my actual history as far as what I went through and how I got to where I'm at.
Okay, well, we're about to touch on that right now. The name of your book is called St. Louis Nights. Can you give me a little bit of background on what the book is about?
The book is it's a complete autobiography. It actually starts off the way it's setting is that I walk into a club, it's called St. Louis Nights. So it used to be a club we used to go to all the time. And I actually walked into the club and I realized that I drink with these people every week, but we really don't know anything about each other. So this one particular night, I decided to tell them my story. So that's how we got the title St. Louis Nights. And so then it goes from, starts with talking about my mom was in the Black Panther, my father was a Vietnam draftee, and the whole story about how I came along.
Okay. So, I know how you got into writing the book, but what actually inspired that story?
Well, I mean, I feel that my story is a pretty interesting. The 40-year journey. The story actually, goes from when I was born in '72 all the way up until August of 2012. So it tells the complete story of everything that happened to me. I mean, I was born in St. Louis, but I was raised in South Central Los Angeles in the '80s, during the time of the gangs, and it touches on that. Came back to St. Louis in '87 and down on the projects of South Side and touches on that. And high school, had a promising basketball career, almost made it to the NBA, goes to that, and, tells the journey about, how I dealt with things in the streets and eventually came into corporate America and started my own company and stuff like that. So I think it's a pretty interesting story. To date, I self-published, and right now I'm at a total of 5,800 books sold, and that's over a year and a half period. I've actually won 2 awards, like I said, 2 TMA awards for Author of the Year, so it's pretty good.
Which I wanted to congratulate you again on that. It was great meeting you and talking to you the other night. First time we've talked, and I've always wanted to meet you since we became friends on Facebook. So, like I say, congratulations again on that.
Right.
So now I want to switch gears for a second. You're a successful author. Many books sold, lots of fan base. You also have a very successful business that's also reaching into the community. Can you talk to us about that?
Because I changed my business, initially it was just to sell my products. I actually have a game that I invented in 2010. It's called Vibe. It's a board game that's a cross between chess and checkers. You could also see at www.vibeworld.com. But what I recently did is I actually shifted gears and changed the business into a nonprofit business. The way I was raised, like I said, my mom being a Black Panther, one of the things that we were always concerned about is community. And it was not always about you receiving, but what can you give back to your community? That was real important, more than you just succeeding at the home. So I did officially change the business to a not-for-profit business. So now all of the proceeds are going towards funding this nonprofit business, Provide World, which is providing resources to St. Louis Public High School girls and boys track teams. The thing is that we want to provide the shoes, the uniforms, the warm-ups, and transportation to these boys and girls basketball teams. My kids personally went to the school, so I have a first-hand knowledge about what these kids need. We can give them these new uniforms, we can give them these new shoes. They'll get more interested in wanting to be on a team. When they put that uniform on, they feel good. They feel like they're a part of something. Even though they may have a terrible home life, they can go to school and put this uniform on and feel good. Now, what that's going to do for them is, first of all, athletics is going to keep them healthy. So, you get off the seat, get off the couch or playing the video games, you're actually doing something that's going to keep you healthy. Second of all, by being in school, you're going to learn something. You have to maintain a certain grade level, stay on the teams. So by giving them this, we're giving them an alternative to just sitting around the house, out of time doing nothing. Get back in school, get educated, get your health together because you're not sitting on the couch anymore. So it's going to also, do a lot of good things. The other part that we're going to do is we're going to start a summer seminar. It's going to probably be about a 1-week seminar where kids that are going from the junior to the senior year, we're going to bring them in for a week, and within that week, get their whole financial aid package done, and get them scheduled to take the first ACT test, so that when they go into their senior year, they're really preparing themselves to actually go to college. A lot of our high schools are failing our kids, so we can take it upon our own self as concerned citizens and parents to make sure our kids are really getting a chance that they wouldn't otherwise be getting.
You have a strong sense of community. You have a strong sense of helping the community. I guess what I'm asking is, how did it become your personal mission?
Like I said, it became a mission, first of all. Like I said, the center is the deep-rooted community activism that I had from my mom. But with my kids personally going to these schools, I was the dad that picked up the kids for basketball practice, doing track. They didn't have a way to get to these track meets because they don't provide buses on the weekends, and a lot of these track meets are on the weekends. So I was that parent that was picking up kids, taking them to the track meet. I spent my own money buying kids cleats. I bought kids the uniform. I spent my own money doing this because it's like I say, by my kids personally being there, I have a concern for my own kids, and then their friends being around also help their friends. And I just see that there's a greater need. And here I am in an opportunity to be able to, now that I've gotten this attention from writing this book, I could use this little bit of attention that I have to attract more attention to a cause that's really going to help not just me, it's going to help not just my kids, but somebody else's kids. St. Louis has this high murder rate. We have this stigma of being the world's dangerous city, and that's because of all of the gun. So if we get our kids off the streets and now give them something to do, we can reduce it. I mean, I could be saving my own life by getting these kids off the street. It could be one of the kids that might have ended up robbing me, but instead, now they're going to die.
Okay. It's good to see a black man such as yourself who's willing to, who basically is just doing what he's doing. It's nothing you're doing extra. It's nothing that you're doing to try to prove something to somebody. It's something you're doing just because you're you. And there's a lot of us out there, but the problem is not a lot of us get spotlighted for it. You should be, and right now, you should be spotlighted for that. So that's just
that's one of the things. I really don't really care who gets the credit, as long as you keep my kids off the street.
That's it. That's what it's all about. It's all about our youth, pretty much. So, excuse me. So my next question for you is, what are your goals, like in the next 3 to 5 years for, basically for the company, our youth, for the community, pretty much?
Well, what I'm currently working on, I would say, is just starting. So I am launching as of today a program. It's going to be called the 50 Cents a Day program. And the way I came up with this is that a few days ago, I was in my car with my son, and I noticed a guy in the corner. He had a cup in his hand. And, people were giving him money. And it just dawned on me, if this guy gets 50 cents every time the light changes, now the light changes every 60 seconds. That means this guy's getting $30 an hour. If he just did that Monday through Friday for 8 hours a week, that's $60,000 a year. $60,000 a year, if we could collect that for our kids, that would go a long, long, long way. So what I'm going to do is start calling out to people and asking, hey, can you give our kids 50 cents a day, Monday through Friday? It's just $2.50 a day. We have it set up for the website, and they can go on the website. And basically, we collect it on a monthly basis of $10 a month. Now, that comes directly from their checking or savings account or credit card, and they're going to be put in what we call the Evolve 1000. We're working on a foundation building that we should have within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And in the foundation building, we're going to have a large plaque, and we'll have all 1,000 names on it. So that people can see that you're part of the Evolve 1000. In this foundation, it's also going to be the center that's going to give back. Because what we're going to have is we're going to do nightly fundraisers. Proceeds are going to go to benefit the foundation. But what is also going to be a place for local artists or artists to have a place for their music to be showcased. They can get a show, have a picture, with their art on it. This is a place, instead of you trying to sell it out your trunk, you can come here and this is where your music can get out to the community to be sold. We're not going to charge for that. What we will do is for each time one of your items is sold, we get $1 that we donated to the foundation. You walk around, you won't be that kind of vibe. You can tell people, hey, you can go over here to the Evolve World, the foundation, they have my products in there. You can go, you can listen to the music, you can buy the music, and so it'll be a place that will help benefit the local artists as well as benefit the foundation as well.
Sounds good. So now my next question is what I was going to ask is, do you have any events coming up, like within the next couple weeks?
Not specific events. Hopefully the next event that will be coming up is going to be the grand opening of this foundation. It's probably going to be the next big event, and so within the next 2 to 3 weeks we should have everything put on hand. And then I'll start making announcements for when we start doing our grand opening. And I got some pretty exciting ideas for fundraisers that we're going to do on a nightly basis. For a mature crowd, people that want to get out and do something. You don't want to be with the kids, but you want to be, not necessarily want to completely dress up. So there's going to be quite a few things that I got in mind. It's going to be different fundraisers that's going to be pretty cool. That I think is going to be pretty different for St. Louis. And in the end, you're having fun, but it's also wonderful for you.
Okay. Switching gears again, I want to take you back to 2 Sundays ago. Winning the TMAs. That was a wonderful experience. This is your second TMA. How does that feel?
Winning the year award, I mean, it was so. I mean, the first year, I really didn't think that I was going to win. I was up against Terry Bams, so he's a pretty good artist. So I really didn't even think I had a chance of winning. So when they told me that I won, it was pretty exciting that I won in a competition with somebody like that. This year, once again, I wasn't so sure I was going to win because of the competition. We had people such as Alicia Hamber and Mary Sobel, who are pretty known artists. And so, when they called my name again, I was surprised. The fact they had to say it twice because the first time, I didn't actually hear him. I thought he said Mary instead of Malik. So, it was, once again, unexpected to win, but at the same time, it feels good, because it shows that people in my home city appreciate my work. It lets you know, it says to me, hey, you did a good job. And, sometimes that little pat on the back is what you need to, keep going forward. And so that's why I'm feeling, hey, my city gave me a pat on the back and told me that I'm doing good. Let me give something back to them. And that's another, root of where this foundation comes from. Can't always just keep receiving. You got to be able to give something back. So that's really where that goes.
I totally agree. My next, do you have any more books in the works? Anything want to come out soon, or?
I don't. Right now, let me tell you this thing today. Writing a book is one thing. I think it's more easy to write a book than it is to market a book. I really do. I actually do have another book that I wrote. I don't know if I'm going to actually publish it. I do have some ideas that I probably want to collaborate on some other authors and maybe just give them the ideas and framework, maybe the outline and let them write it. But I don't really, I don't consider myself a writer. I wrote a book, but it was so easy because it was my story. So it really wasn't nothing to it. But, when you talk about character development and series and stuff like that, I'm really not there. So this next book, if it comes out, it actually has to do with the board game that I've been in. It's called A Vibe, and it's a cross between chess and checkers. Like I said, if you go to the website, you can actually see me and my daughter playing the game. When you go to the website, the intro, it gives a little brief story, telling you a little bit about the little characters that goes along with the story. Well, I actually wrote a whole book for that story. But like I said, I don't know if I want to actually go on publishing it, promoting it again. I don't know yet.
I understand.
Yeah, I probably.
So, well, with that, do you have any more projects you have anytime soon coming up, or besides writing?
The total focus is on the foundation, getting that up and running, and getting the resources in place, and getting corporate sponsorships. And so, I'm working on electronic press kits to put together, and so that when I go before these corporate sponsors, I have all my stuff together, and we have this foundation going. And so right now, just full focus on the foundation.
Okay. I normally reserve this question in the beginning, but I think it's appropriate I ask it towards the end. Who did you admire growing up? Who inspired you to do what you do when you were growing up?
I guess initially, I've always been in the basketball. So, those guys have always been the guys I looked up to. So, I looked up to Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan, and, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be the winner. I never wanted to lose at anything. I think just ever since I can remember, I've always wanted to be as competitive as those guys. So those guys are like some of my first heroes. And then I guess, as I've gotten older, it's been people like Barack Obama. Growing up, in the 70s, you hear one day you can grow up to be president. But realistically, never thought, no black man is going to be president. That's not going to happen. Here we got a guy that stood by. And, that election night, man, I was so proud to be black. It's like, I felt like I got elected president. But,
Exactly.
Guys like him, that when you look at where he comes from his beginning to where he's gone, when you look at stories like, the guys like a Michael Jordan, none of them are perfect people, but they took the adversity that came in their life and they kept going. And when I look at my story, the adversity that I've been through, I was kidnapped, shot in the head, falsely accused in prison, but every time I had those setbacks and things happen, I came back and I kept trying. I didn't give up. And it was, like I said, key people like that, they inspired me, And I guess now, if I had to say my total heroes as this present day, first be my mom and dad. I've learned to appreciate them as my heroes. My parents are still alive, and what they gave me, what they instilled in me, to be the type of person I am today. So I say today, as today stands, first be my mom and my dad. Second will be my kids. They really keep me grounded. They really keep me pushing because of the fact that what I want to be as a man and as a father to them. I always wanted to be that guy that when I went up to the school, you could point out, first of all, you always want to know how I carry myself. That's somebody can.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, my kids would be proud to say, yeah, that's my father. So those are now my heroes for us to this.
Okay. Well, actually, you touched on a little bit of my next to last question. I was going to ask, were there any obstacles along the way for your success?
Man, it's been a lot. And in fact, I just had one last week. There's never seen us. There's never going to be a day when I think that obstacles are going to stop. You know what I'm saying? Some people say I have a very nonchalant attitude because I don't let things bother me. Every time something happens, my first thing, I go into a mode of how can I win? How can I get past it? I don't want so much focus on the problem itself. More or less, I focus on how to get past it. And I actually relate that to playing basketball. So, if I could use an analogy here, it's like, if you're playing basketball, you go down and you shoot the shot and you miss the shot. You don't have time to focus on the shot that you missed. You got to get back down and play defense. You got to keep staying in the game. And I think that's really how I lived my life because I was fortunate enough to have some good basketball coaches that was able to teach that. That's one of the things I think that sports can really do for a lot of kids is they can have these adversities because they're going to lose, but you can't quit. You got to keep playing. You got to keep going. And that's one of the other reasons why I'm passionate about using sports as the vehicle to get them back in school. As long as they're in school, they're going to learn something. As long as they want to stay on the team, you got to maintain a certain academic level. They're going to get something out of it.
Have an incentive.
Health benefits, academic benefits. Sports is what can get our kids off the streets. I think that it's really what saved me. Like I say, growing up in South Central LA in the height of the game, I never thought about joining the game, but they were all around. I had encounters with gangs, and in reading my book, you can see the encounters that I've had with gangs. First time I ever saw somebody get killed, I was 7 years old. Guy get shot in front of me. So. My thing is just never give up. Because it's never going to stop the university. Until you dig. You're going to always have some type of hurdle. Something's going to come out. Hey, deal with it and keep moving. You got to keep going.
I truly understand. So my last question is, I always give my subjects the last word to where if there's anything you want to say, any words of wisdom you want to give, any type of inspiration you want to give. And also, too, I want you to also end it by giving us your website, your, ways to contact you and learn more about your business and where to get your book.
Like I said, the words of wisdom I would give anybody is don't give up. I'll be 42 this year, and I can say what my whole premise is, my whole life is around is that don't give up. If you give up, you lost. This book, I did not realize how important this book is going to be writing it. Because like I said, I just wrote it for my kids. But it has, I hear now, people reading my book and they're telling me about, hey, I read about that and it changed my life. uh, the relationship I have with my mom, with my father. I talk about the legal system. I talk about the government stuff. I hear about relationships. So it's a little bit of everything. It's not, a quote unquote urban hood book. That's not what it is. This has my life story in it, but also I included other things to teach life lessons. So I'm starting to recognize just how important this book actually is, especially after winning the second award. This book has been picked up by Paramount Pictures, and it's supposed to go into movie production.
Congratulations.
Behind schedule now, and it's my fault that it's behind schedule, but you can probably look for the movie probably by the end of fall, beginning of winter. St. Louis night, the movie will actually be out. I'm trying to work with a lot of St. Louis people to get them involved in it. Right now, I do have a book. I have not really much of a clothing line, but I have a few items in the clothing line. The game that I spoke of that I'm going to provide. Foundation, anytime you want to make a donation to the foundation, you can do everything online at www.vadworld.com. AVADEWORLD.com. vadworld.com. You can see everything that I have available, or you can find me on Facebook, Malik the Boss Aaron Sr. I had to change my name a little bit because that is cook. But you can find me on Facebook. I don't have problems with answering questions. If you're trying to publish a book, I can show you how you can publish your own book, $10. It's all it's going to cost you to self-publish your book. You don't have to deal with a publisher. You don't have to go. I can tell you the whole thing you need to do. It's only going to cost you $10. Any other questions that you would have for me? Like I said, you can find me on Facebook.
When we return, we'll talk to our author, editor, professional, Shonell Bacon, with this week's writing tip.
Relationship issues or questions about loving yourself? Check out my newest columnist, Sharita Newsom. Her column provides tell-it-like-it-is advice from a personal perspective. Get to know Sharita Newsom on my HD Insider page website at www.h.d.campbell3.net. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
What is H.D.Campbell Production, you ask? It's a collective of editing services, books, promotions, and more. Find out more about these services in addition to shows and columns at www.h.d.campbell3.net. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
Welcome back. This is the segment where one of my friends from a panel of experts will give you their advice about one thing in the writing, editing, promotion, and the publishing genre. Today's expert is Shonell Bacon. She has given out a lot of advice on writing and editing online and is also a professor, an author, and a professional editor, and more. Here's her advice for the day.
Hey there, everyone. This is author, editor, and educator Shonell Bacon. Today, I'd like to give you an editing tip. We always tell writers to make sure that each story is professionally edited, but I think it's equally important that each writer is a fairly competent self-editor. And a lot of times when people think about editing, they think about starting at page 1 and reading and editing through till the end. What I like to do is make passes through my work. So for example, I might do one edit pass just looking at dialogue to make sure dialogue is revealing character as opposed to just telling stuff to the reader. Another pass I like to do is character development to make sure that all my characters are fully fleshed out, realistic. I also like to make passes for main plot and subplots. But one that I want to talk about for a couple seconds is chapter and scene developments. It's something that I often tell my editing clients. You want to make sure that your beginnings and your endings of chapters and scenes do something, work for your reader, particularly the endings. So one edit pass you can do is for scene and chapter endings to make sure you end them on cliffhangers, if you will, because you want to propel and compel your reader to keep reading. And if you end a scene in a way that doesn't do anything for the main plot or any of the subplots, that just finishes a conversation, for example, as opposed to make the reader wonder what's going to happen next, then you fail slightly as a writer. So one edit that I definitely suggest is to look at your endings of your chapters and of your scenes to make sure you pack a punch. If you have issues with that, you might look at TV shows, because endings of scenes before they cut to commercial always have that, oh, I can't believe they went to commercial. And you've had at least one time that moment where you just need to know what happens and you're sitting there waiting for commercials to end. You want your reader to have that same feeling when they're reading your story. I hope this helps. Thank you for watching. Bye.
And you can check in with Shonell Bacon and all of our other panel of experts at my website at hdcampbell.weebly.com, or you can get in touch with Shonell Bacon personally at shine.bacon@gmail.com. Now, when we return, we'll have the gossip segment and some final words. Do you need a manuscript edited? Perhaps you need a press kit or some ghostwriting done. H.D. Campbell Productions will offer the most professional services at the best price. We also do book trailers, publicity, newsletters, and more. Check out more in the online marketplace section on my website at www.hdcampbell3.net. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
Ever experienced a love for someone so forbidden? Feels so wrong, but yet his passion makes you feel oh so right? Even if you have, meet Solomon and Sheba, my award-winning author, Francine Kraft, and experience it all again. Experience the roadblocks of pregnancy, past transgressions, and the deathbed confession threatens the most powerful of romances. Can they survive? By Solomon and Sheba, from your favorite bookstore, Amazon, and BarnesandNoble.com.
And now the gossip segment with author Tasha Bynum.
Hey, it's Tasha here, and I am going to be bringing you the hot news. Today I have a lot of celeb gossip, so I'm just going to jump right in. The biggest thing that I think is really happening in the celebrity world would be Chris Brown going to jail. Of course, he went to jail yesterday. A judge ordered him into jail, and people are really reacting. I mean, Twitter shut down yesterday, so it was really crazy. He was sentenced to, so far they don't know how long he's going to get. He could get up to 4 years. And it's really, he got kicked out of rehab, and that's why he ended up in jail. So basically, he was caught at rehab rubbing elbows with somebody, literally rubbing elbows with a female, patient or client. I don't know what they call rehab people there, but he was caught rubbing elbows with her. And another judge, the judge said that Brown basically has inability to stay out of trouble, is what he said about him. And he even read a quote that Chris Brown had wrote to his therapist or wrote to someone, and it said, I'm good. Wait, it said, can't read my own writing. All right. It says, I'm good at using guns and knives. That's what it said. And so the way that I think about it, I'm like, I think that Chris Brown, we know what he did. There's no need to dredge that up. But I will say this. He has been in and out of jails and rehabs and all kind of stuff since all this Rihanna stuff started. I just want to know, is he being targeted because he's doing wrong, or is he being targeted because he is a celebrity who messed up 4 years ago? And I want a clear understanding of that. So I'll leave that with you guys to decide. The next one was kind of interesting. This is not a celebrity, but it was news and it was funny. Well, not funny. It's horrible, but kind of entertaining. Okay. All right. Pastor dropped dead in front of the congregation after confessing adultery. The man said that he had adultery years ago. He's a pastor of the church, and he calls a meeting to talk to everybody about, this, adulterous affair that has been on his heart for so long, and he feels so bad about it. And he actually has a heart attack and dropped dead in front of his congregation. while they yelled, "I forgive you, I forgive you, we love you, we're here for you." And it's really sad. That was a really sad one. The next one that we have is I want to talk about Khloe Kardashian. She was on a news program yesterday morning, and she was heard to say they asked her about Baby North, and when they asked her about Baby North, her phone just died. Of course, the news runs and says, "Oh, she didn't want to handle the questions that we had for her about Baby North, and so she hung up on us and interview over." And she says, "You guys, you're reaching for something." She called them effing desperate, and then she told them stop reaching, and basically, don't be so desperate. So that was pretty interesting. And then Mia, MIA is actually her name. She is being sued for $16.6 million for giving the middle finger during a show. I believe it was at the Super Bowl. Yes, I believe it's at the Super Bowl. She put her middle finger up, and they're suing her $16.6 million for a middle finger. Jeez. Let's see. Tyler, the Creator, he was put in jail this past week for inciting a riot. He was basically telling his fans that they call it the South by Southwest, what was it? South by Southwest music festival. Sorry, this week. He was told that he had to, he had to, basically he went to jail because he told his fans to break through, do whatever they had to do to, get where he was, to get in, because they were over capacity. So he just told them to just keep pushing. He was heard on the video saying it twice. So he only faced he faced only a $4,000 fine, but he could do a year in jail. So that's pretty bad. Another celebrity news thing that was kind of funny to me and kind of crazy was T.I. He put this guy on blast on Twitter. The guy's name is Trent, and this is exactly what T.I. said in his tweet about this guy Trent. He said, this ninja, that's what I'm gonna say, is not hustle gang. No matter who he is related to, he's a snake and a thief. Beware. He said, hide your tennis shoes and your fitted caps. He's a low level, bottom feeding peasant. You have been warned. And the guy, of course, is like, I don't know what he's talking about. Somebody told him some stuff and everything, but it was just so funny. I was like, he's a bottom feeding, low level peasant. Okay. But yeah, so that is your news for today. Of course, I'm Tasha. Thank you so much for listening, and tune in next time.
You can contact Tasha on her email for any show ideas or advice or what have you at tashatasha77@yahoo.com, or contact me at h.d.campbell.weebly.com. The reason I'm using the Weebly address is because I'm having issues with my current h.d.campbell3.net, which we'll be back on soon, so for now, just use that. And now for some updates. Each show, I'll start giving you updates on new projects, because I have a lot of things going on this year, not only with my own things with H.D. Campbell Productions, but I also have things going on my other gigs like Show Me Records, the Visionary Blogs, and Theo Bliss Press. Because we have so many new authors, new artists, and I'm also writing for the Visionaries, so I'll also be sending you over there to check out some new things I've written. Also, I've been busy with so many other things. It's just going to be so many things to tell you this coming season and this coming year. Also, stay tuned for a new show coming soon. I already have a new inspirational show, which you've probably seen, and I'll give you more details on that next episode. Now, stay tuned for our next show when we have 2 more authors, and we'll have a lot more surprises. So for now, thank you for watching The Author's Corner. Peace, and as always, let your writing fuel your spirit, and God bless.